So here we have an ancient Greek coin. This is absolutely beautiful, and it's amazing how much the detail has been preserved, especially considering that this dates from around 300 BC. Now, coins are something that we've got very used to in our everyday lives, but actually the first coins as we know them, meaning pieces of metal that were each worth the same value, they were invented in about 600 BC. And they were probably invented for the first time by the Lydians. Now, the Lydians actually live in what is now a part of modern-day Turkey, but they were very closely linked to ancient Greece and the ancient Greek world. And the Lydians used their coins to pay mercenaries who went off and did their fighting for them. And very quickly they were adopted across the many, many city-states of ancient Greece. So ancient Greece wasn't a single country as it is today. In fact, it was made of over 1,000 different city-states, and each one had their own rules, each one had their own coins and their own gods and beliefs, but all of them were tied together by the same broad shared culture, the same general religion and general set of practices and beliefs. Now, this coin shows us a picture on it, and if you look really closely, it's got the head of a goddess. And this goddess is Demeter. Now, Demeter was the ancient Greek goddess of fertility. She was the goddess of agriculture and new life. She was a very important goddess. She was one of the 12 original Olympians, the gods who lived on Mount Olympus. And she was the sister of Zeus, the king of all of the gods. But actually, she in many ways was as powerful as Zeus because she controlled life and the land. And in the Greek myths, and we know this is Demeter because she's seen to be wearing a crown, and her crown is generally represented as a crown of corn. And we can see the ears of corn if you look really closely. And on the other side, just to emphasise even more who this coin is representing, there is an ear of barley. So again, thinking about crops and growth. And so Demeter was a goddess that everyone across the whole ancient Greek world believed in. And in her story, in her myth, she was the sister of Zeus, and she was also the mother of Persephone. Now, the story of Persephone is very famous, and it's been depicted by artists over thousands of years, all the way through to the Victorians, and even to the modern day. But Persephone, in the Greek myth, was kidnapped by Hades. Hades was the god of the underworld. He was the god of the land of the dead, and he kidnapped her. And Demeter's grief was so great at the loss of her daughter that she stopped letting anything grow. Everything in the world ceased to grow, it stopped growing, and as a result there was a widespread famine. And in the story, Zeus eventually intervened, and he made Hades release Persephone. But Hades had made a deal with Persephone that she could go free as long as she hadn't eaten anything while she spent that time in the underworld. And as it turned out, she had eaten 6 pomegranate seeds. So, because of that, Hades agreed to release her for 6 months of the year. And that's really important because this is how the ancient Greeks understood the world. For the 6 months where Persephone is released from the underworld, from the land of the dead, Demeter is so happy that everything grows. And that's the 6 months that represent sort of spring and summer. And for the 6 months where Persephone is forced to go back to the land of the dead, to the underworld, and taken captive by Hades once more, nothing grows. And that's how the Greeks understood winter, autumn and winter, when everything slows down and stops growing. There's another story that's associated with Demeter as well. And in this story, a man is really kind to Demeter. And as a result of that, to try and help him, she tries to give his son the gift of immortality. Now, the very interesting thing about that story is that the exact same story survives in ancient Egyptian mythology, except for instead of Demeter, that story is about Isis, the queen of the Egyptian gods.